This is episode number 8, How to Master the Whole Work From Home Thing with Nick Sarnicola. Welcome to Alive by Design. My name is Blake Mallen, and we're here to bring you inspiring people, principles, and practices to help you wake up, move toward your meant to, and feel fully alive. Open your mind and let's dive in. Hey guys, before you listen to the podcast, I just wanted to say I really appreciate you being here, and I'm super excited about this new quarantine conversation series. If you want to catch these episodes happening live, where you often can ask real-time questions or maybe even get featured on the show, make sure we're connected on Instagram at Blake Mallen and on my Facebook page, facebook.com/BlakeMallen.page, as I'd love to see you there. Love you guys. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay sane, and enjoy the episode.
Today, we're going to talk about how to really work from home, like really. How to succeed from home, right? Because one of the things that Blake and I have done now for, 20 years plus is build a business from home. Have we had offices? Yes. At one point, we probably had 7 or 9 offices in 13 different countries, yada, yada, yada. But our gift and strength and knowledge base has always been working from home. It's what we do. And right now, everybody in the world has to do it. So if everybody has to do it, how can we, with our knowledge, just give you some usable tips, usable hacks that you can go out there and apply into your career. And ironically, out of everything that we don't know and everything that we do know, this is one that we might be experts at. How to work from home is it's in our blood, and it's something that is absolutely positively second nature to us. So we started this idea of quarantine conversations out of the desire to want to provide value in this difficult time frame, and most importantly, to create better people coming out of quarantine than going in. So my question to you is, how many of you are committed to getting better, just being a better version of yourself right here, right now, in this moment, coming out of quarantine than you are going into quarantine? And Blake, I'm gonna kick it over to you.
Cool. Well, happy Saturday, everybody. Good to see you. Thank you guys for joining in. So as Nick said, today's topic, guys, is how to really work from home. And, Nick and I find ourselves in a pretty unique seat in terms of authority, because we've spent 20 years for me, over 20 years. What are you, 22 years now? 23 years?
I'm only 23 years old. So, this would be my, I don't know, if I'm 41 next Wednesday, if I'm 41 on Wednesday, this will be entering into August will be 23 years. What? That doesn't make sense.
23 years coming up. So 23 years for Nick, over 20 years for me. I'm teaching people how to work from home. So I guess if there is an area of expertise that we've spent our entire adult careers in, it's this one. And today we're going to kind of adapt what we would normally teach, maybe just within our channel, and give, hacks and tips and practical advice on really what anybody can do to elevate your effectiveness, elevate your productivity, elevate your results, and also elevate just your happiness and fulfillment while all of us are working from home, regardless of what your background is. Let's go ahead and get rolling, you guys. We'll try to break today's conversation down into categories or buckets, and we'll kind of rifle off some things that'll work under each of these categories. So, Nick, maybe is there anything else you want to say at a high level? You want to dive into some of the categories for today?
Well, I want to just one disclaimer or just the buffer, which is, remember that Blake and I are not disconnected from what is going on. We're not desensitized from it. We're not, we don't lack empathy. In fact, we got on the phone today with our 16 top leaders in Italy, and we had hard, difficult, painful conversations. We are very close to the fire. We're not as close to the fire as first responders are, but our businesses have been affected. Our people have been affected. But we are choosing in these episodes to stay to the positive. We're choosing to lead people through, and we're choosing to focus on how to be better in this. And if you've been impacted financially, if you've lost your job, if you've been sent home and you're now searching for solutions, I want you to know that we're not desensitized from that. And we send our love to you and your family, and we know that you're going to figure it out. We know you're going to make it through.
Well said, and I echo the exact same thing. And hopefully, for those of you guys that have been plugging into some of our conversations, you are receiving some value, and we are helping you approach this interesting time, this quarantine time, with the intention of, and we'll dive into today. So I guess, guys, kind of first topic, why don't we talk about just environment in general, right? So, for a lot of people, this is the first time we're having to work from home. And it might be a totally different environment if you're used to going into an office every day or driving to work every day or having a certain physical environment you're in every day that you assign as this is my workspace. And now all of a sudden, we're in our house, right, 24/7, right, every single day, and having to work where normally we look at as our living space, right, or our personal space. We got to start by defining a work environment. So just a couple things that I'll throw out, and I'll have Nick kind of share the same. I recommend if you're going to work from home and you want to be productive, you should have a specific environment in your house where you can actually go to work. And you should make sure that area, if you have a home office, awesome. If you have a place where you can go and shut the door, right, so you can eliminate distraction, awesome. If you don't have a place, if you're in a bedroom studio, you still can have a corner, you still can have an area. But I definitely recommend having at least an area, some of you maybe have defined multiple areas, where you can go and focus on getting work done. And you got to make that area, right, a work zone. And you got to make that area and design that area so that it can facilitate getting things done. For a lot of people, it might be as simple as, eliminating distraction, right, of what's right in front of you. You got to make sure you have what you need in that physical area to accomplish your work, whether it be obviously your computer, if you need your computer, your phone, right, your internet, any sort of notes or paper. So that way you can have everything you need and you don't have to constantly get up and get distracted in terms of an environment. I also recommend that when you create your environment that you're going to be working in, make sure you let other people in your house know that is your work environment and that you are going to be working. If you're in a place, right now, obviously where you have maybe your spouse, if you're in a place especially, like both Nick and I have little kids running around, you have, a family, you got to make sure you set the expectation correctly that you are going to work, right? Just like in the past, you would give the hug, say goodbye, and head out the door. Same thing in the house. You got to create the expectation that you are going to work, right, as you step into your office or step into your work area, so that everybody in your household knows it's not just a normal day where daddy or mommy or sister or brother are home. Like, you are actually going to work. Nick, what other ideas would you chime in terms of just maybe physical environment?
Well, a lot of people think that what we're saying is obvious, and they undervalue what we're really saying. Like, this whole thing starts with this area. It's a mindset. So it's a mindset combined with an environment. I now work from home. That's who I am. That's what I do. That is my identity. You need to accept this identity and make it your identity. Quit fighting it. Quit arguing it. Quit complaining about it. Holy cow, if I had one more person complain about it. You have got to accept, I am now a work from home person. Whatever that is, with mom, dad, businessman, whatever, I work from home. Mindset is this: I get up today and I walk to my office. Instead of driving to my office, I walk to my office. I recommend that you create a routine around that trip to the office. I wake up, I make the coffee, I drink the shake, I do the whatever, I read the news. I don't know, whatever your routine used to be, keep the same routine, okay? I cannot tell you how many people I have seen fail. This is like maybe the best thing I could share with you guys, because sometimes we look at things positively and sometimes I make the point by looking at it negatively. Because Blake and I have been in the home-based business industry for 22 years, I cannot tell you how many people I've seen quit their job to go full-time to work from home and absolutely completely bomb because they have no clue how to create an environment and create a mindset that they are now working from home. Wake up, run your routine, go to your space, wherever your space is. Make sure everybody knows that's your space. It's off limits. Nobody enters that space. Nobody comes around that space. We're going to talk about parenting in just a second on this. I'm trying not to cross over there. And make it look and feel like a different space. you've got to have a switch that goes off in your head that's like, boom, work zone. Nothing else matters. This is my zone. This is my area. I'm going to work now. I'm at work now. I'm at work. I don't care if it's a corner of a studio apartment. You have to be at work when you're at that corner of the studio apartment. So I think like the only thing I want to add is prior to environment is mindset. You must have a clear mindset that you now work from home. That's your identity. Own it, accept it, wake up, run your routine, go to work, and work might be 5 feet away.
I think those are great tips. I think the huge guys tip on the routine, right? You got to have the routine to get into a flow. A couple other tips on environment that maybe we'll ask you if you have anything to add before we shift categories. This might sound really obvious, but make sure you're comfortable. If for a lot of people, you might for the first time be sitting for extended hours, right, in that place in your home. Make sure you're comfortable. Make sure you got a chair that you can sit in and stay in. And also alleviate distractions. If you're working in the middle of a place where it's the same room as your television and the television's on, that's going to be difficult. So you got to do your best to try to eliminate distractions. I'm personally not a fan of having the TV in the same place where I'm trying to get something done. So those would be a couple other tips in terms of environment. Let's transition. Let's go to, how about we go to focus and or just productivity, right? So let's assume we're going to create an environment. It's conducive, right? It's comfortable. We can focus. We're good. Let's figure out how can we maximize our productivity, right? How can we stay focused, stay productive, at a time maybe where we're in that new environment or at a time where maybe we do have some distraction out there. So Nick, what tips would you have or tools would you have in terms of how we maintain focus or increase productivity working from home?
This goes back to mindset. You have to create a mindset that is as close as it is to when you're normally working, right? So if you're not allowed to watch TV at work, then you better not be watching TV or have a TV around at home work or working from home. If you're not allowed to be on social media, then get your ass off social media. If you're not allowed to, and fill in the blank, like the ability to self-regulate here is critical. And guys, I'm going to give you a bit of a clue on something here. If you can figure out, some of you guys are upset, mad, sad, frustrated about working from home. If you can figure out how to succeed in this environment right now, chances are you're going to be able to create a business from home once you go back to work that is going to allow you to supplement your income because you're now mastering a new idea and a new concept that you've never done before. But you have to take this serious, right? You got to treat this like your boss is watching and he's sitting there on the wall. The reason why Blake and I became great entrepreneurs at a young age is we learned this idea that whoever it was that we admired the most, pretend that they were a fly on the wall and they were watching us every day, would they be impressed? I think that's the best way to do it, because if you're in a traditional job, then you'd say, okay, if my boss was watching me right now, would they be impressed? And hold yourself to that standard, because by the way, in my opinion, you owe that to the company that's cutting you a check. If you still have a job right now, you owe it to that company to put in your best. You owe it to that company to give them what you got. You owe it to that company to eliminate the distractions and show up and be grateful. Like, you should be grateful right now that you have an income coming in despite all that's happening around you. So a couple pieces on that, B.
I love it. I'll add a couple more, guys. We're talking focus and productivity. Set hours. Like you said, we're talking about learning to employ ourselves, right, when we don't have the boss looking over our shoulder. Set hours, right? How many hours are you going to focus on actual work? What is that goal for you, right? If you're currently working a job or career, they maybe have set hours for you. If you're an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, right, or you have someone right now that's not looking over your shoulder, you got to learn to employ yourself. So focus on a calendar, right? What hours do you plan on really put in? During those hours, what are you going to accomplish, guys? So there should be specific tasks every day that are your musts, right? There are things that you're required to do. There's things that are the highest priority. And you shouldn't have 20 of those in a day, right? You should maybe have your top 1, 2, 3 most important things that no matter what, by the end of the day, you're going to get done. I always, kind of use a filter of, look, what's required from me? What's going to get the biggest return, right, on my time and investment? What's going to give me the biggest reward personally, right, or fulfillment. So that's kind of like the R system that you might use to help prioritize. But a lot of times people start out with too much to do and they don't, then they feel like they don't know how to focus or where to start. Or a lot of times people start off and they do the easy things first or the small things first, and then days go by and the important things aren't getting done. So I would say when you start your day, what are the most important things? 1, 2, 3 things, define them and make sure you focus on first things first. I also kind of goes back to productivity and environment. Get dressed. This may sound funny, but make sure you're getting dressed. If you're rolling out of bed and you're rolling into your work environment and you haven't gotten ready and you're wearing the same clothes you went to bed to, people may not know, they may not see, but you're going to feel different and you are going to respond different. So get ready just like Nick said, have a morning routine, get ready for your work, even if you're working from home, like you were leaving the door.
I don't know if you guys know this, but Zoom has a new function. We can actually smell you through Zoom. I can smell when you haven't showered in 3 days. I've got one, Blake. For productivity, know when you need a reset. This goes back to episode 2 when we talked about combating negativity. You've got to be aware that you are not producing at the level that you're capable of because you're burning out in the new environment that you're in. You don't have coworkers around. Maybe the kids are loud around the corner. Maybe the dog's barking. You're stressing a bit. You must know when you need to reset. And a reset can be 60 seconds. It can be 3 minutes. It can be 5 minutes, right? Figure out how to reset. Be aware enough to recognize it. And then figure out what couple things you can do to immediately reset and then get your butt back in there and get to work.
I love that. And you guys, resetting could be stretching, right? Resetting could be going and taking a 15-minute break and saying kids or the dog or the cat. Resetting could be walking around the block. Resetting could be grabbing a drink. But it is important that you know when to reset so you can stay focused. And a lot of people, guys, they ignore those little things. And what happens is they stay, but they're so mentally worn out or physically worn out, they're not optimizing, right, their time and their productivity. So make sure you know when to reset. As Nick said, I think that's a great one. What I sometimes do, guys, in terms of extended time and knowing when to reset is maybe play a little game with yourself where you can give yourself, a little reward. When I complete this, then I will do this. Right? So it's a simple little hack that's highly effective. So if your top priority is ABC, right? And you need to get that done, but you also know you're going to need to reset and you want to be able to get outside and get some fresh air today. When I complete ABC, then I will take a 15-minute break and go walk around the block, right? Or once I make these phone calls, or once I, complete this amount of steps, then I will take a 15-minute break and, go grab a snack or go say hi to the kids. So little mental games of how you create a reward system for yourself. Don't let yourself just off the hook. Don't let yourself just get distracted anytime you want to be distracted. When I accomplish blank, then I will allow myself to do blank and then get back to the task. Are little tricks that work really, really, really well. Nick, you're a big fan of music. How would you use music?
Dance party. All time, 24/7 dance party. No, I mean, if you guys need a reset, music is one of my favorite ways to change in mood in any way, shape, or form. So if there's a song that that lights you up and you're just like, God, I got to reset, throw the song on and go jog around the house or whatever. So yes, use music. I was going to use another tip, like for productivity, which is find a coworker that you can have as an accountability partner. Okay. So instead of your boss, sometimes, nobody likes to be managed. I mean, let's be real. But if you had a coworker, they can say, look, these are the 3 things I really got to get done today. Keep my ass in check. And you give me your 3. And you guys are working back and forth that way. I think that will be very valuable as well.
I think that's great. And I'm just kind of thinking about music and mood. Sometimes I put on, like maybe more thoughtful music, Enya, right? Something like that. If I just need to focus. Sometimes if you need a higher energy, right? You're going to put on a little faster music. So you can kind of play the music to the tune of what you need to get done. And just a thought, guys, if you are in a place where you have other people in your work environment, you can't shut a door, you got distraction, headphones, go get a good pair of headphones, plug in. There's headphones now that even do the white noise and silence everything. So, I mean, if you need to do that to eliminate distraction, headphones are something you can use. And I think a big one, which is ironic for me saying this right now, because I know we're all on social media watching this, but if you're focused on getting something done, you got to keep off social media while you want to get something done. I know right now you guys are on here learning, which is great. We're doing something. But if you want to focus on accomplishing something, producing something, driving your business forward, driving your work forward, driving your task forward, little distractions. You can't be scrolling through your Facebook feed or scrolling through your Instagram feed or letting your rings and dings, get in the way. I'm a personal advocate of turning off all your notifications on your laptop, turning off all your notifications on your phone when you're actually focused on accomplishing something, and then make sure you schedule time to break when you need to go catch up on news, catch up on alerts, catch up on calls. Nick, anything else come to your mind in terms of like productivity or focus?
No, I'm good. Let's jump to parenting. I think everyone in the back of everybody's mind who has kids right now is like, yeah, but kids, yeah, but son, yeah, but so. Let's jump to parenting for a minute. This has been for a lot of people just absolute culture shock. They're like, you guys are used to going to work, them going to school and coming back, and that's that, right? Now they're going to school while you're going to work, and you're in the same room, you're in the same place, right? It's different. Okay, it's different. So I'm going to give you some tips. I've got children that are 6 and under, so I can speak from a position of strength there. Beyond that, maybe not, but here's what I've always done. I'm not talking about quarantine. This is what I've always done. I speak to my children like they are intelligent and that they're young adults. I don't speak to them like they're adults. I speak to them like they're intelligent, and I'm talking like a 3-year-old. And I speak to them like they're young adults, and I let them know my schedule. Right? I sit down with them and I say, okay, here's daddy's schedule today. And I pull out my phone. I say, and I know they don't fully understand time. It doesn't matter. The 6-year-old does. I said, from this time to this time, I'm unavailable. I'm going to be back in that room. You can't knock on the door. You can't do this. You can't do that. And when I'm done, I will have 15 minutes. Then I'm going to come back and we're going to have a dance party for this 15 minutes. And then I've got to go to another call, right? So I go and I break down the schedule with them. I'm constantly throughout the day reminding them about what daddy's schedule is. And then I'm also rewarding them on the way, right? Hey, if you guys get to the end of this, then you'll get blank, or I'll reward you with blank, right? And that doesn't have to be, it could be whatever. It could be a treat. It could be a prize. It could be a show, a movie. It could be 25 cents. I don't know, however you parent. Also, I recommend that you have some sort of sign, just like at a hotel. Do not enter, stay away, come on in. Maybe a green and a red. If you hang it on the door and it's green, the kids can come in. If it's red, that means you're in a conversation or a Zoom that by no means are they to walk in there unless it's an emergency, right? Now, how many of you have seen the video of the anchor, or not anchor, the broadcaster or whatever, who is at home, the kids sneak in, and he's just so flustered. The nanny the nanny crawls in like army style, yanking kids out. The guy's losing his mind. You can tell he is, but he doesn't know what to do. Don't be that guy, okay? If your kids come in and they disrupt, act normal. Do not make your kids feel like you know what because they walked in at the right time. And don't make yourself look like a bad parent or a bad human based on your reaction, right? If your kids walk in, try this, especially if they're younger, right? Just say, hey, come here real quick, wave. Let them say hello, send them on their way. Involve them, but don't over-involve them. You guys know what you can and can't do, but you're going to regret beating up a 4-year-old psyche over the fact they accidentally walked in the room. Just let them come, let them wave, and send them back out, okay? My kids also know that if I do this, if my hand's up with a stop sign, that means this is really important. Do not come over here right now. So I have to teach them that, though. Don't think they understand what that means. And then afterwards, it's really important. If I do like the stop, don't come over here, right when it's done, immediately when it's done, I go and grab them. I put them on my lap. I say, hey, I want to make sure you know you didn't do anything wrong. Daddy has an important call. The only reason I have to be on that call is so that I can make sure you eat, have clothing, can go to a good school, have the toys you want. Do you understand? Say it back to me. Okay, great. So those are some tips for me on how to do this from home. This isn't quarantine, guys. This is what I've done since, Gio was 1 year old for the last 5 years. You take
amazing tips. You guys,
you take some notes there?
Those are good ones. Those are really good ones. I learned a lot. You guys, what are some nuggets from Nick you just got for parents out there you can apply? I've actually never heard Nick give those tips, so really good tips. And I do some of them that are similar. So we call it making a plan. Obviously my daughter's not quite 2 years old, so she doesn't understand much. And if she's going to come in, she's going to come in.
You ain't stopping her.
But my son, Grayson, who's 4 years old, understands. So we start every day and we say, okay, we're going to make the plan for the day, right? And very similar. And here's our plan. And he wakes up every morning now and he asks us for the plan. What's the plan for the day? And we'll tell him, hey, I'm working. And I'll tell him, Dad's going to be working at this time. He's got people to help, right? I'm going to be teaching. I'm going to be talking to a lot of people. That's what I do. But I always give him something to look forward to. So I say, look, at this time, we can do this together. At this time, we're going to go walk around the block as a family, or tonight we're going to do dinner with, the grandparents, or, hey, tonight you want to, learn how to work this robot. We're going to work this robot together. So I do my best to let them pick something they look forward to and then tell them a time. Usually for me, it's later in the evening, but a time that then we can do that. So that way they give a little grace, right? When Dad's at work, all day long. But those are some of the tips. You guys tell me, what are some tips out there as far as parents? A lot of you have been parents a lot longer than Nick and I have, and a lot of you guys have probably more kids than Nick and I have.
Go for it. Here's a teenager one. I'm thinking about what would I do if I had a teenager right now? If your boss is on the line, sorry. What I would do is I'd outsource work. I'd figure out how to involve my teenager in what I did and how I could involve and give them part of the work to do, making them a responsible party to it, and I would compensate them for it. That's what I would do. And you might find out really quickly that your job can be done by a 15-year-old. So don't tell your boss. But I would outsource some of my work to my teenager and get him engaged and get him involved.
I love it. You guys give us some advice, great tips on, parenting and how we combine being great parents, which is obviously should be a priority in your life, with a work from home environment we're all facing.
Can we move, for time's sake, can we move to Q&A? I've got a hard stop in 8 minutes. So if we're able to, I'd love to move to Q&A with the team here, see if anyone's gotten one, has got any questions. If so, fire at us now. Blake, if you want to go to whatever you're going to share.
Yeah. Well, you can fire questions. We're on my Facebook page now. Fire some questions. We'll answer them. As we're firing questions, I'll ask a question and give some tips. Technology you guys are using right now. Obviously, technology is changing everything. We're having to adapt given this time. I considered myself pretty savvy when it came to technology, and I'm learning how to use technology even more during this time. So I'd love to know some of the things you guys are using. I'll rapid fire as we're waiting for questions. Zoom. Obviously, we're on Zoom right now as an amazing platform for communicating, collaborating. If you guys need advice for like project management, task management, to-do lists to help you prioritize, we talked about that earlier. I'm a fan of Trello. So the app Trello, there's also an app, Asana out there. Trello or Asana are great tools just for kind of project managing. If you need something for just notes, jotting down notes, journaling, capturing notes, voice or written, Evernote is an app that I use. An obvious one, guys, your television. Most of you have televisions in your house. You can hook up your phone, your laptop to a television in your house with an HDMI cord. And all of a sudden you can take your Zoom or your FaceTime and boom, you're right there on your television. So if you want to use that for work or for family or for communication, those are some technology tips. We got some questions out there? To a television in your house with an HDMI cord.
That boy is smart. I'm sure you probably said this one, but I'm just going to reiterate it. If all of that's too much for you, get a whiteboard. I mean, please. Did you say whiteboard, Blake? Can you hear me? Okay. Get a whiteboard, a simple whiteboard, and put on the whiteboard the things you got to get done. Put little squares next to them so you can check them off when they're done. I mean, let's go to basic stuff here. If you're working from home for the first time and maybe your role doesn't need this dynamic technology, just get yourself a whiteboard, put the stuff that you got to do up on the whiteboard. When you walk into your space, environment, office every day, you walk in and go, okay, we got to get that done today. Pretty basic. Okay, any questions wrapping up here? Before we go, I see one about the conversation at hand. What time do you completely shut off so you can devote all your energies to your family? That time is no o'clock. Meaning I don't have a standard time that I shut off. So the question that I'm being asked right now is how, for me, Adam, and myself and Blake, we're mega ultra entrepreneurs that have many businesses globally and time zones all across the world. We do not shut off at a certain time, always, all the time. Meaning we operate always out of flexibility. Now, if you have a traditional career, then whatever you want to do. If you want to say, look, from 6 to 8, I shut off or whatever, you can do that. Now, if you're asking, I know Adam's an entrepreneur, so I'm going to ask that for entrepreneurs on the line. If you're an entrepreneur, you are always, the store is always open, period. But you can decide each day that this hour or that hour or this time slot or that time slot is untouchable, okay? That's absolutely positively okay. You can absolutely decide which time frames are untouchable, but you still have to be flexible. So do I have untouchable time frames in a day? I try to, and it's usually the dinner time. I wait for the call schedule to fill up, and then I call my assistant, like, look, block that hour right there, block that 30 minutes right there, block that 15 minutes right there. And I have a belief that some may disagree with right here. This is for entrepreneurs on the line. My belief is my 90 minutes of hardcore, and it's not 90 minutes straight, 15, 30, 60 minutes. My 90 minutes of hardcore, just intentional energy that I teach my kids, I grow them, I pour into them in that window is more valuable than parents being around. They're just around their kids. They're around their kids who are on an iPad while they're on their cell phone watching TV. They're just around each other. I believe that the value I intentionally provide into my kids at the moments that I do it provides a significant a return in our relationship as opposed to just being around each other. So I don't know if that makes sense. That was for entrepreneurs on the line. So Blake, over to you.
Yeah, my answer would be similar, guys. And I think you'll find that of a lot of entrepreneurs and just high performers and achievers is we're all on a mission to kind of collapse time, which means we all have probably more hours that we put in than stay your typical kind of 9 to 5er. So I agree with Nick. I don't think the answer is what time is non-negotiable. I think the better question is how do we figure out on being where we are? Right? So if we're working, we are working and we're 100% working. If we're with family, we are with family and we're 100% with family. Those time windows can be 50 minutes, 30 minutes, or an hour, and they can change from day to day, week to week. It doesn't got to be a fixed schedule. I think, the maturity or the game is just learning how to be intentionally where you are when you're there, which is much easier said than done. It's much easier said than done because a lot of us, when we're with family, we're thinking about work. When we are working, we're thinking about family. And I think a lot of it is just learning how to be present and focused where your intention's going, not stressed about the other thing you're not doing when you're there. So hopefully that kind of answers the question. What other questions we got out there?
Mike, I'm going to give my closing thoughts and kick to you to wrap up. I just want to share with everybody, as always, thank you for giving of us your time. I hope that this was valuable in any way, shape, or form. As always, when we're done, please share this, tag people. We just want to keep being lighthouses and pour into people. Choose your environment. Create your environment. Start with the mindset. Create your environment. Stay focused and productive. Learn how to reset. Set the expectation correctly with your kids. Kick ass. Take names or don't even take them. It's up to you. And leverage your tools. Blake, as always, thank you, man. Appreciate you. I'm gonna kick it to you to close out.
Awesome. Well, you guys, hopefully today was valuable. Let us know one thing you got. What was one thing from today's conversation? Last question, guys, would be this. We're going to keep doing this, right? I mean, we're having quarantine conversations for as long as we're in quarantine. There's no other intention for us doing this other than to show people that you can not just get through this, but we can grow through this, right? This isn't a time where we have to fall. This is a time where we can rise. This isn't a time where we have to just, let things happen. This is a time where we actually can become better. We don't want to minimize the real situation we are facing. It is a real situation, and we have to face that with the right education and the right intention and the right reality. But that doesn't mean we can't get better, rise together, and get better together through all of this. And that's why we're having these dialogues. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay sane, and let's stay productive after today's conversation. Working from home. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, everybody. Until next time, have a great day. Hey guys, one last thing. I'm super excited that this new podcast, Alive by Design, just went live, and I want to celebrate by giving away $500 cash to 5 lucky winners over the first 5 weeks. You see, I designed the show to bring you inspired thoughts and fascinating conversations with the world's most impactful people, to provide transformative principles and practices to help you wake up, move toward your meant to, and feel fully alive. And I'd love for you to help me spread the word now. So to enter the giveaway, follow 3 simple steps. Step 1, simply subscribe, rate, and review the podcast on this platform right now. Step 2, find this giveaway video post on my Instagram @Blake Mallen or my Facebook or LinkedIn profile and share it to your Instagram story or your Facebook and LinkedIn profile. When all done, simply comment "Alive" and tag 3 friends on that same post. Weekly winners will be chosen randomly and announced publicly on my Instagram and Facebook story each of the first 5 Saturdays after launch. Would really appreciate your support, so if I've ever given you value, please do me this personal favor and go subscribe now. And if you found today's episode helpful in any way, make sure you share this with at least one friend today. You have the power right now to change someone's day. So send them a text message with a link to alivebydesign.com, or simply copy and paste the link right from this podcast platform. Who's one person you know right now that you want to see succeed, that you want to see grow, that you want to see feel more alive? Shoot them a text with your largest takeaway from today and be a light in their day. And if you were referred here by a friend, make sure you shoot them a text back and say thank you. I'd love to hear from you directly on what you got from today's podcast. So if you're up for it, drop by my Instagram @Blake Mallen and shoot me a DM. And as always, thank you for showing up. I'm grateful for you, and I hope our time together today in some small way helped you feel a little more alive. Until next time.